Bonjour tout le monde. Avant de commencer, je veux dire que nos pensées sont avec les gens du Maroc après le terrible tremblement de terre. Our thoughts are with everyone afflicted by this major earthquake in Morocco. Our hearts go out to those who've lost loved ones. Canada, of course, stands ready to provide assistance. Aujourd'hui, je conclus ma participation au sommet du G20 ici à New Delhi, en Inde. On a travaillé sur un ensemble de dossiers comme l'économie, les changements climatiques, les chaînes d'approvisionnement, la transformation numérique et l'égalité des genres. On a aussi parlé de réformes qui pourraient améliorer les banques multilatérales de développement pour les rendre plus efficaces. During my meetings with leaders of the G20, I also reaffirmed the importance of the rule of law and the rules-based international order. The rule of law is not just a concept. It's people's lives, it's people's jobs. Without these rules, we can't have the stability that is essential to global prosperity and economic growth. Countries in the G20 are all different, but it's the search for those common rules that brings us together. And this brings me to Russia. Not only is Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine criminal and unacceptable, and killing thousands of people, it's also creating energy and food insecurity around the world. This week, I continued to advocate for collective action to hold Putin accountable and to secure a just and durable peace that starts with Russia's immediate withdrawal from Ukraine. Canada will never recognize the results of the ongoing sham elections held by Russia in Ukraine. People like Putin mistake being reasonable for being weak. He is dead wrong. And Canada will continue to support Ukraine with whatever it takes for as long as it takes. Que ce soit avec la guerre de la Russie en Ukraine, la pandémie, l'économie ou les changements climatiques, les effets se font sentir partout à travers le monde. En ce qui concerne les changements climatiques, les conséquences sont encore plus lourdes pour les populations vulnérables. Aujourd'hui, je peux annoncer que le Canada va investir dans une série de nouveaux projets en Afrique et en Amérique du Sud pour aider les communautés à s'adapter au changement climatique. Par exemple, en Bolivie, on va aider des populations autochtones à développer, entre autres, une agriculture durable qui va contribuer à réduire l'insécurité alimentaire. Et on va aussi investir dans le mécanisme de financement catalyseur du climat, un programme conçu pour faciliter le financement du secteur privé dans des projets qui sont bons pour l'environnement dans les pays en voie de développement. Climate action is one of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which also include ending poverty, achieving gender equality, and ensuring quality education, among others. Whether it was during ASEAN earlier this week or here at the G20, I continue to talk about these goals to raise awareness with other leaders. It's important to continue the work so that economic growth benefits everyone, including the most marginalized. And Canada will continue doing its part. We will help finance and grow women-led agricultural enterprises in Nigeria. We will help bolster food security in the Democratic Republic of Congo and increase incomes for women in the industry. And we will invest to promote school nutrition in Burkina Faso. This is all in support of the Sustainable Development Goals, and we'll continue this work in the months and years to come. This was a very productive week, whether it was here at the G20, in my meetings with business leaders, with the different ASEAN leaders or other partners. There is a real enthusiasm in the Indo-Pacific region. This is good because our goal coming here is to create more good jobs for Canadians, make life more affordable, and foster economic growth that benefits everyone. Les gens reconnaissent que le Canada a beaucoup à offrir. On va continuer de créer des opportunités d'affaires pour nos entreprises canadiennes et on va continuer d'être une influence positive dans la région et à travers le monde. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
We will now start the question and answer period. First question goes to Annie Bergeron, CTV.
Hi, Prime Minister. I'm wondering if you can say why you signed on to and agreed to a leaders' declaration that does not condemn Russia for its illegal invasion of Ukraine.
If it was just up to me, the leaders' declaration would have been much stronger, particularly on Ukraine. If it was just up to other countries around the table, it would have been much weaker, particularly on Ukraine. The G20 is an extremely disparate group, and we worked very hard to get as strong language as we possibly could.
Based on the language in the declaration, Ukraine is saying that there is nothing to be proud of from this summit. Do you feel like you've let down Ukraine and the summit itself?
These summits are always an extraordinarily important moment to come together to deal with big global issues. And we all rolled up our sleeves on tackling the challenges of food insecurity, of energy insecurity, of disrupted supply chains, particularly caused by the war in Ukraine that Russia illegally chose to launch. This is an important time to come together and hear and put pressure on countries that do not align with our values. And in that, we will continue to do it. Global problems have global solutions. And that's why being here today was really important.
Bonjour, M. Trudeau. Christian Noël de Radio-Canada. En me basant sur ce que vous venez de dire, vous auriez aimé que le langage sur l'Ukraine soit plus fort. D'autres pays auraient préféré que ce soit plus faible. Est-ce que vous êtes capable de m'expliquer de quelle façon le compromis est utile et nécessaire dans cette situation-là pour l'Ukraine?
Prenons par exemple le paragraphe sur l'accord sur les grains dans la mer Noire. On sait très bien que des pays à travers le monde font face à une crise alimentaire ou avec des prix élevés ou bien des manques de denrées et d'alimentation. De le dire aussi clairement dans un communiqué comme ça, qu'on sait très bien que c'est lié à la guerre en Ukraine et on appelle à tous les pays, y compris la Russie, d'essayer de le résoudre. On voit qu'on est en train de mettre de la pression pour résoudre un problème auquel bien des gens font face, mais qui n'ont pas toujours la bonne information sur le lien avec les actions de la Russie.
Donc, c'était un compromis. Est-ce que ça veut dire que l'influence des pays occidentaux dans le G20 est en train de diminuer?
Non, le G20 a toujours été un rassemblement de pays extrêmement différents. Il y a des démocraties, il y a des monarchies, il y a des pays autoritaires, mais ils représentent ensemble les plus grandes économies de la planète et on a une responsabilité de pouvoir pousser pour des solutions et de pouvoir résoudre les différends. Et c'est toujours un processus. L'année dernière, on a eu de très bonnes discussions. Cette année, on a eu de très bonnes discussions. On a mis de la pression, on a avancé plusieurs enjeux et on va avoir encore des discussions sûrement difficiles, mais franches, l'année prochaine au Brésil pour le G20. Ces conversations continuent, mais nous devons rester là pour livrer les résultats.
Hello, Prime Minister. Karina Roman, CBC News. Many have remarked on how awkward and stilted the public interactions have been between you and Prime Minister Modi. What accounts for that tension?
I think, as always, there are a lot of different subjects that are important for Canadians, whether it's the rule of law and the international rules-based order, whether it's ensuring prosperity, access for our farmers to markets overseas. There's all sorts of different issues, and we've had serious and frank conversations as Canadians would expect.
But many have described your relations at this time as strained, a challenge, deteriorating. How do you describe the relationship between yourself and Mr. Modi and between Canada and India, and where would you like that relationship to be?
We recognize that India is an extraordinarily important economy in the world and an important partner to Canada on everything from fighting climate change to creating growth and prosperity for citizens. There's always a lot of work to do, and we will continue to do it. Nous reconnaissons à quel point c'est important de travailler avec l'Inde pour créer de la prospérité, pour s'assurer de la lutte contre les changements climatiques, pour assurer accès à nos agriculteurs au marché indien. On va toujours être là pour parler de la règle de droit et l'importance du droit international. On va toujours être là pour travailler de façon franche et sérieuse.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Evan Dyer, CBC News. Could you describe what you discussed today in your pull-aside with Prime Minister Modi?
We talked about how important it was for this G20 to be the success that it was. Having solid conversations and interactions that involved countries, the major countries from around the world, creating moments both for formal interactions and the productive informal conversations that were a huge part of this summit to advance important issues. We also talked about the range of issues that matter, whether it's climate change or the rule of law or issues facing Canadians and Indians.
Two issues you didn't mention, one that has been reported by the Indian media quoting Indian government sources who say Prime Minister Modi spoke to you about the presence, in his terms, of Sikh Khalistani militants in Canada. And the second is the question of interference in Canada by India, which has been cited by Canada's own intelligence agencies. Did neither of those topics come up?
No, they both came up over the years with Prime Minister Modi. We've had many conversations on both of those issues. Obviously, Canada will always defend freedom of expression, freedom of conscience, freedom of peaceful protest. That's something that's extremely important to us. At the same time as we're always there to prevent violence, to push back against hatred. I think on the issue of the community, it's important to remember that the actions of the few do not represent the entire community or Canada. The flip side of it, we also highlighted the importance of respecting the rule of law, and we did talk about foreign interference.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Taria Isri, Global News. So on the issue of foreign election interference, what message did you deliver to Prime Minister Modi?
The message is the one that we have continued to deliver to all our partners and allies around the world, as well as countries that we have concerns with, which is making sure that respect for the rule of law, integrity and sovereignty of democratic institutions and processes, and the respect for the sovereign choices of citizens in and of a given country to choose their future. Diaspora Canadians make up a huge proportion of our country, and they should be able to express themselves and make their choices without interference from any of the many countries that we know are involved in interference challenges.
A lot of the language in the Declaration on Climate Change is aspirational without firm targets. So why did Canada sign on to that? And given the aspirational goals, can you describe this summit as a success?
Again, Canada will always be pushing hard for stronger language on climate change. What we've been able to do by bringing in a price on pollution, by leading the G7 in reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, these are things that we will continue to push for more ambition, because we know that everyone needs to do their part. And quite frankly, the G7, G20 countries are responsible collectively for about 80% of global emissions. So as we look to hold to that 1.5 target and attain it, we know that everyone needs to do their part. We will continue to push as hard as we can on stronger language every step of the way.
Hi, what did Canada contribute to the communique?
As always, Canada is a strong voice for inclusion of gender language, inclusion of Indigenous reflections, but all throughout, we made sure that countries around the world are focused on growing the economy in inclusive ways, creating opportunity and prosperity for everyone in a more peaceful, more secure world, respect for the rule of law, ambition on fighting climate change. These are all things that Canada pushes for at every summit, among others, and we will continue to. Okay. Le Canada, à tous nos sommets, pousse pour de langage d'inclusion, que ce soit sur les femmes ou sur les peuples autochtones. On est là pour se battre pour une vision économique inclusive, pour s'assurer que tout le monde puisse réussir. Je parle toujours de l'importance du multilatéralisme et des solutions que nous cherchons ensemble. On parle de sécurité, de stabilité, de l'importance de la lutte contre les changements climatiques. Et je peux vous assurer que dans les négociations, le Canada a poussé très fort sur tous ces enjeux.
Appearance at the dinner and this morning, the ceremony. Pulled your hand away.
I'll let you read into what you like. I'm here to work. We're here to deliver important things for Canadians in terms of growing the economy, in terms of solving some of the real geopolitical challenges that people are facing. I was pleased to have a sit down with Prime Minister Modi, in which we had direct and real conversations, as we always will. But we're going to continue to work hard to create opportunities, not just for Canadians, for people around the world. And that's always been my focus.
Why did you cancel
No, it was a scheduling thing.
Last question.
Hi, Samir Hussein from BBC News. I'm wondering about the question with Russia. In fact, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov did a press conference and said that actually the paragraph had nothing to do with Ukraine. Do you think the language should have been stronger when it comes to Ukraine? And how would you characterize your relationship with Prime Minister Modi?
Well, first of all, on Russia, I think it's well established that we can't believe anything that Russian officials or diplomats say, full stop. We put forward strong consensus languages on Russia's illegal actions in Ukraine, and I'm not surprised that the foreign minister of Russia objects to it. That's his job, but he is, and Russia is, and Putin is, very much in the wrong in terms of the instability they're causing in the world, the impact on food prices, the impact on global inflation, on supply chains, on energy prices. And that's why we will continue to stand strong against Russian bullying and Russian aggression in Ukraine. In regards to Prime Minister Modi, we have always had a good relationship in which we're able to talk frankly about difficult issues, and we will continue to have that. Sur la Russie, je peux rappeler à tout le monde qu'on ne peut pas croire rien que le gouvernement de la Russie dise. On est là pour continuer de tenir fort contre les actions illégales de la Russie en Ukraine et à travers le monde. Et ça ne me surprend pas du tout que le ministre des Affaires étrangères de la Russie n'a pas aimé nos positions très fermes contre l'ingérence, l'interférence et les actions illégales de la Russie.
This concludes the press conference. Thank you for participating.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde.